This is the King of Kings, and we're going to do a new series where I'm going to say fights that need to happen in 2023. My first fight, and I feel like is absolutely imperative to happen this year, is Mr. Beterbiev versus Dmitry Bivol. As you can see, both of these fighters are 175-pound fighters. They're both 5-star. They're both elite. Dmitry Bivol is coming off a scintillating defeat of Mr. Gilberto Ramirez, and then a prior victory over Saul Alvarez. Now, my man, Mr. Beterbiev, he's coming over a knockout victory over Anthony Yard, a 170-pound contender. Basically, this is the situation. This is why it's imperative that this fight happens now. Let's just look at when these guys became champion. For instance, Beterbiev won his belt in, it looks like it was against Enrique Cole. He won his first belt, the IBF championship, in November of 2017 by knockout, 12th round knockout. Amazing. Like I said, Beterbiev, every fight has been a knockout. He is currently 19-0. But like I said, November 2017 is when he won his first title, which is the IBF belt. Now, Bivol, let's see when he won his first, well, I believe it's his only title. So when he won the WBA title, let's see when that was. Highly convenient. There it is, against Trent Broadhurst. November of 2017 as well. So he actually won his title a week before Beterbiev did. So this is the situation that we have going on now. So in that time frame, this is now 6 years ago. 6 years ago, both of these guys have existed as champions in this division and have not unified their title. Now, the onus in this situation is, let's go ahead and look what's happened since then. So Beterbiev, after winning that first IBF title, defended it about, maybe about 10 months later in 2018. Then he later went on to get the WBC strap from Glasgow, 10th round knockout. So there you go. There's his first unification bout. Defended his titles against Marcus Brown, some other noticeable names. And then in 2022, a scintillating second round knockout of Joe Smith Jr., where he took that WBO strap off of Joe Smith Jr. Now, this is now, so if you think about it, Beterbiev, since 2022, has had 3 of the belts. He has been a unified champion since 2019. Most recently, like I said, so after the Joe Smith Jr. Collecting the belt from him, he went on to defend those titles against Anthony Yard, and that was most recently in January of this year. All right, let's now slide over to Mr. Bivol. Mr. Bivol, like I said, once he won the title in 2017, he's defended it several times. Some notable names on his record: Jean Pascal, Chalamba, Sullivan Barrera. Joe Smith Jr., a similar opponent for him, but at that time, Joe Smith was actually a contender in that fight, trying to get a title shot. That fight went 12 rounds. He won the decision. Goes on past there. Now, the most notable fight is 2022. He fights Mr. Saul Canelo Alvarez, who I believe at the time may have been listed number 1 or somewhere in the top rankings of pound-for-pound fighters. So he came up to face Bivol for his 175-pound crown. Was easily dominated. Easily. This is the crazy part about that. A lot of the reasons that were brought up later was the size difference had nothing. Now, I see that score says everybody had Bivol winning 7 rounds of 5. That fight was not 7 rounds of 5. Bivol easily dominated Canelo Alvarez. I gave Canelo 2 or 3 rounds in that fight. So he comes back later that year, 6 months later, fights Gilbert Ramirez, who is is a cruiserweight. The guy is massive, comes into the ring 200+ pounds, and Bivol just dominates. Easy work, undefeated fighter, 44-0. I'd be hard pressed. Like I said, scorecards, I might have gave Zerto a round, and that's probably a charity round, maybe 2 charity rounds, but that's it. Definitely not, definitely a situation where Bivol dominated. Now, here's why this is imperative. Look at the ages on these guys. Beterbiev is currently 38 years old, and Bivol is 32. They have both been champions at light heavyweight for 6 years. Exactly the same amount of time. Give or take a week. No, literally give a week. The problem is you have a situation where you have number one and number two. They need to fight. Beterbiev is not getting no younger. He is 38 years old. Even though these guys, let's take a look at the amateur background, see how much fights they did in their amateur background. So 96-10 in his amateur fights and 90-11. So similar amount of amateur fights. So, the wear and tear is similar. I think Beterbiev started a little later in his career before he started fighting, before he went pro. I mean, a little later in age. Like I said, both 5-star fighters, number one, number two. I would edge it definitely to Bivol being number one at 175 because, like I said, he has a signature win. Even if Canelo coming up, him defeating Canelo had nothing to do with him being bigger. He just superior skills, outboxed him. Just made it one-sided. That's why I said the 7-5, 115. No, that fight was easily 117, 111. So dominant fashion. Beterbiev, like I said, he's knocked out everybody. He just knocked out Yar, whose only other defeat was to Kovalev, a former world champion. He defeated him by KO in the 8th round. Just basically beat him into submission. Joe Smith Jr. knocked him out in the 2nd round. So we're going to start looking at some like opponents. So Joe Smith Jr. First went for a title shot against Bivol in 2019, lost a decision. Pretty one-sided decision, but lost a decision there. Beterbiev cleaned him up in 2 rounds. Hit him so hard in the 2nd round, he just lost his bearings, was looking off into the crowd. It was devastating and took his strap. Now, Beterbiev has collected 3 of the belts. So now we're going to have to start holding Bivol a little accountable because here's the thing about it. You've had a title for 6 years. You haven't unified. You have a like opponent who had who had a belt at one point in time, even though it was after you fought him. This fight needs to happen. It has to happen because here's the issue. We have a couple problems. So Beterbiev, even though he has 19 fights, he is 38. And so here's the thing about it. It's not just necessarily that it's going to be he just aged out or any of those type of things. The problem is it's just as a man's, he's getting older. I don't think necessarily physically he's breaking down, but just his life priorities are changing. Probably got some family, probably made some decent money. You can, even if he's physically fit, some of the hunger may begin to from. Now, from what I last seen, he was calling out, but he's called Bivol out the last 2 fights that he won. He wants to fight because he's aware of the time. The clock is ticking on him. I'm not 100% sure when his birthday is, but if he turns 39, but he's going to be 39 soon, possibly by the end of this year. So what are we doing? So on the horizon, what I see for Bivol is they're talking about a Canelo rematch at 168, which is to me ludicrous. First of all, you've never fought at 168, even though I believe you when you say you can easily make the weight. But what are you chasing that fight for? That was not a close fight. So to me, that's a payday fight. And that's great and all, but we're talking about legacy right now. And you have a huge opportunity to become the undisputed champion at 175, which you've sat in division for 6 years holding one strap, and you haven't unified. You're not even a unified champion. But you want to go to 168? And I don't know. I think Canelo still has all 4, so I guess if you beat him, you become undisputed. But you've already beat this guy. And here's the thing about it. You're going to defend at 168 or you're going to come back to 175? You're going to come back to 175. You're a career 175er. You're just going to shrink down just to go get this money and beat up on Canelo. That's cool and all. But let's get this fight going. Because in that time frame while you're weighing in, like I said, Beterbiev now becomes 39. Okay, now you say something about, well, you need to acclimate back to weight or something happens funny or it's now a year off. Beterbiev, by the time he's 40 years old, it's getting to the point where if you still want credit for this win, where you fought Beterbiev at his best, the fight needs to happen now. This is all there is to it. Beterbiev is primed. He still looks good. He looked excellent in his last fight. Here's the thing about Bivol. If you look at his last several opponents, the only thing that I think that's going to neutralize, because Bivol is a high level, he's an elite level boxer. Now Beterbiev ain't no slouch, but what do you need to neutralize the elite level boxer? What kind of wild card do you need to kind of put yourself in a position where you can neutralize those boxing skills? If you look at his last several opponents, none of these guys had it. It's power. And we're talking about a guy that's 19-0. So I don't want to hear about who, because like I said, they have a similar opponent, Mr. Joe Smith Jr. Stopped him. 2 rounds, put him out of there. And from what I understand, I don't even know if Joe Smith had been stopped prior to that. Let's take a look. Let's see if Joe Smith had ever been knocked out prior to Beterbiev put him out the game. Lost TKO, lost UD, lost UD. So, I think that's, yeah. Okay, so he lost early in his career. That's well, whatever. So he hadn't been stopped in years, and I guess, like I said, that's early in his career. So we'll say he hadn't been stopped in like 12 years. So last time he was stopped 12 years ago. And Joe Smith Jr., I think he's in the last maybe 7 years been able to make the boxing more of a full time. But let me say, we got an undisputed champion. We have a unified champion. Been unified champion for now. Let's go back. When do you forget that belt? For 4 years, he's been a unified champion. I'm going to be honest. I've seen Bivol talk. I don't know if he's talked about Beterbiev. Beterbiev brings him up all the time after every fight. He wants that smoke. He knows this is a factor. He's 38 years old, man. This fight needs to happen now. Canelo will still be there. Fight Canelo afterward. Because Canelo's not for none of your 175 belts. Canelo still wants to fight you because he's trying to prove that maybe he can get some get back or some payback. Zeros. These O's got to go at 175, not at 168. Come on, let's give Beterbiev his chance, man. Beterbiev is an excellent fighter. It's not necessary to dry this man out like that. It's just not. It's getting to the point, like I said, you're going to be fighting this guy when he's 40 years old. And do you get credit for that? To an extent, but the truth is that I think that literally people want to accuse certain guys of you aged him out. He's smart. Like, them training camps are getting harder. You know what I'm saying? It's getting longer on system. When he first started fighting, let's see how long he's been actually a pro now. So 2013. So 10 years as a pro. So he started when he was 28. But let's just take a look at this. Like I said, so Mr. Bivol been, like I said, champion since he was 26. And so that means Beterbiev was 32. And like I said, so with the late start, his age is going to hold a little more. So this 38 at maybe like a guy that had started when he was 22, I'd be like, ooh, but so he may have another year, 2 max, 2 years max. But we got to get this fight done, man. We got to find out who's the best at 175. We need an undisputed champion. We already have a unified champion. See all the belts? 1 belt over here. And don't get it twisted. I think Bivol is an excellent fighter. That's why we need to see these best matchups. Because we see what the results are when we get the best matchups. And boxing is just... It wants to start leaning that way, but these guys got to fight. There's no reason for this fight not to happen in 2023. Who you guys got in this matchup, man? I'll give you my fight prediction when the time comes. I don't do fantasy matchups. I only do actual concrete fights that are going to happen that are signed. But who do you guys got? Who do you think wins? Do you feel like this fight needs to happen in 2023? Is this something that we can wait another year for? I really don't think so. But, let me know in the comments what you think. Who do you pick? What? Give me your breakdown. Let me know who. Do you got Beterbiev? Why do you think he can win this fight? If you got Bivol, let me know why you think he can win this fight. Like I said, give us a breakdown in the comments. Let me know how y'all feel. This, like I said, this got to happen. To me, 2023, this fight has got to happen this year. Hey, appreciate y'all for listening to me. This is the King of Kings Boxing, and I'm out.